world was holding its breath. Everywhere you looked, from busy cities to quiet little towns, people were glued to their screens. You could just feel the excitement in the air, a moment that brought everyone together, no matter where they were or what language they spoke. It was one of those rare times when the whole world was united in anticipation. A new chapter for the Catholic Church was about to begin. As the sun rose over Vatican City, it lit up St. Peter's Basilica with a warm, golden glow, signaling the start of something big for the Church. The atmosphere was thick with expectation as both the faithful and the curious waited for a huge decision that would shape the Church's future. All eyes were on Rome. News channels from all over the world were broadcasting live updates, and St. Peter's Square was packed with faces, each showing a mix of hope, curiosity, and respect. The world was watching, waiting for news that would make history. Pope Francis had stepped down, and his resignation sent shockwaves through the Catholic community and beyond. Known for his humility and progressive views, his departure marked the end of an era. Everyone was wondering, who would take his place? A new leader was about to be chosen. The empty papal throne was a powerful symbol of this transition. The cardinals, the Church's top officials, met in a serious gathering, their faces showing the weight of the decision they were about to make. They were ready to make a choice that would resonate around the globe. Inside the Sistine Chapel, beneath Michelangelo's stunning frescoes, the cardinals gathered in conclave, ready to deliberate and vote in secrecy. This was a time-honored tradition filled with meaning, and outside, the world could only guess and wait. Rumors of a potential pope from Asia were buzzing everywhere. People were praying in churches from Manila to Mumbai, from Seoul to Singapore, hoping for a pope who would represent their part of the world. It was a moment of deep spiritual connection. They wanted a shepherd who would understand the modern world. In these fast-changing times, the faithful were looking for a leader who could bridge the gap between tradition and the present, someone who could tackle contemporary issues with wisdom and compassion, guiding the Church into the future. The Catholic Church was buzzing with excitement. Conversations in churches, schools, and homes were all about the big decision coming up. Priests, nuns, laypeople, and theologians were sharing their thoughts and hopes. The anticipation was almost tangible, like everyone was holding their breath together. From the Americas to Africa, from Europe to Asia, hearts were racing with expectation. The Catholic Church is a global community, and this moment highlighted its vast reach. In every time zone and language, the faithful were waiting for news from the heart of the Vatican. Could it be? Could the new pope be Cardinal Luis Tagle? Speculation was everywhere, and one name stood out. Cardinal Luis Tagle from the Philippines had captured many people's imaginations. His charisma, deep faith, and connection with folks from all walks of life made him a strong contender. As the Archbishop of Manila, he had won the hearts of many. Known for his humility and approachability, Cardinal Tagle was a beloved figure. His speeches resonated with both the young and the old, and he was a man truly committed to the teachings of Christ. He represented hope, with his warmth, humility, and intellect embodying the spirit of the gospel. The world was on edge. Every gesture and word from the Vatican was being analyzed and discussed. Everyone was waiting for the signal that would end the suspense. Then, white smoke puffed out from the chimney of the Sistine Chapel. The message was clear. A new pope had been chosen. The crowd went wild, erupting in cheers, their voices a joyful chorus of relief. The moment they had all been waiting for had finally arrived. The bells of St. Peter's Basilica rang out, signaling the start of a new chapter. The excitement was buzzing all over the city and beyond. Inside the Sistine Chapel, the cardinals were celebrating, their faces lit up with joy. Everyone was aware of how significant this moment was. Outside, the world was holding its breath, waiting for the big announcement. When the name was finally called out, it echoed across St. Peter's Square. Cardinal Luis Tagle. The reaction was overwhelming. Cheers, tears, and prayers filled the air as the new pope was introduced. Now Pope Tagle stood before everyone, symbolizing hope and a fresh start for the Catholic Church. The sun was shining brightly over Rome, making it a perfect day for celebration. Millions gathered to witness this historic moment. Flags from all over the world decorated St. Peter's Square in a burst of colors, while chants of "Viva il Papa" rang out, and the excitement was electric. Inside St. Peter's Basilica, the atmosphere was charged. Cardinals, bishops, and dignitaries from all corners of the globe took their seats. The crowd leaned in, eager to catch a glimpse of the man of the hour. The anticipation was thick. Then, the moment arrived. The sound of trumpets filled the air, and the procession began. Each note echoed through the ancient stone, carrying a sense of history and respect. It felt like the very air was buzzing with energy. Cardinals in their bright red robes led the way, their vivid garments contrasting with the basilica's elegant interior. They moved in unison, a sea of red flowing towards the altar. Every step they took was careful and deliberate, showing their serious commitment to the occasion. The congregation watched in awe, their eyes following the procession with a mix of respect and curiosity. Then, a hush fell over the basilica. The silence was thick, almost tangible. Everyone held their breath in anticipation. It felt like the walls of the basilica were also waiting for the moment to unfold. The grandeur of the space, with its towering columns and stunning mosaics, made the silence even more powerful. When Pope Tagle entered, he wore a simple white cassock. His presence was immediately felt, a beacon of humility and grace amid the basilica's opulence. The simplicity of his outfit stood in stark contrast to the elaborate surroundings, reminding everyone of the true essence of his mission. As he walked, his steps were light, almost like he was gliding. His warm smile and humble gaze radiated kindness and a deep love for everyone around him. His compassionate eyes seemed to connect with each person in the crowd, offering a silent message of hope and comfort. In that moment, it was clear that Pope Tagle wasn't just a leader, but a shepherd, guiding his flock with gentle strength. He moved with grace and serenity, each step reflecting his inner peace and unwavering faith. The crowd parted for him, creating a path that felt almost sacred as he walked. A calmness spread through the basilica, a feeling of being in the presence of something truly holy. He was a man of the people, chosen to lead God's flock. His interactions with the crowd felt genuine, each gesture filled with sincerity. He took time to acknowledge each person, offering kind words or gentle touches, showing that he saw each individual as a unique and precious part of the larger community. As he approached the altar, Pope Tagle paused for a moment of reflection, gathering his thoughts before the sacred duties ahead. The congregation watched in silence, their hearts united in prayer and anticipation. He turned to the crowd, scanning the diverse faces before him. It was a powerful moment, connecting the leader and his people. In that gaze, there was a promise to serve and lead with love and compassion. He raised his hand in a blessing, simple yet profound, symbolizing his role as a spiritual leader. The crowd responded with a wave of emotion, their hearts lifted by the blessing. It was a moment of unity, a shared experience of faith and devotion. A wave of emotion swept through the basilica. Tears flowed, and smiles lit up faces. It was a moment of collective release, a letting go of pent-up feelings. The air was filled with a sense of renewal and rekindled hope. The congregation felt a deep connection to their faith and to one another. Here was a man embodying the love of Christ. His humility was disarming, and his presence magnetic. In everything he did, he reflected the teachings of Christ, a living example of love, compassion, and humility. The crowd felt blessed to be in his presence, inspired to live their own lives with greater faith and love. The ceremony was steeped in tradition, with each ritual holding deep meaning. Deep down, it's all about the weight of history. You could really feel it in the air. The papal fisherman's ring, a symbol of the papacy, was presented with care. Then, the pallium, a woolen stole, was placed on his shoulders, marking him as a shepherd. With every gesture and prayer, Tagle embraced the legacy of those who came before him. He was now the successor of Peter, the vicar of Christ, carrying the hopes and dreams of Catholics all over the world. Section 5. A Pope from the Philippines. It was a historic moment for the Philippines. The excitement was electric as the news spread like wildfire across the islands. The streets of Manila were buzzing with jubilant crowds, waving flags, and singing joyful hymns. This day would be remembered by Filipinos for generations. For the first time ever, a son of Asia was taking the throne of Peter. Cardinal Luis Tagle, affectionately known as Chito, was chosen to lead the Catholic Church. His election wasn't just a personal win, it was a big deal for all of Asia, symbolizing a new era of inclusivity and representation in the Church. A wave of pride swept through the nation, from the busy streets of Manila to the quiet villages in the mountains. Filipinos celebrated together. In urban areas, people gathered in public squares, while in rural spots, communities came together in makeshift chapels to offer prayers of thanks. The sense of unity and national pride was strong, crossing social and economic lines. The beloved Chito was now the Pope. For many, it felt like a personal victory. Pope Tagle had always been a beacon of hope and inspiration, known for his humility, compassion, and connection with the people. His rise to the papacy felt like a divine thumbs up for the Filipino spirit and resilience. His journey was a testament to the universal nature of the Catholic Church, resonating with millions worldwide, especially those from developing countries. He represented the Church's mission to reach out to the marginalized and be a light of hope for the downtrodden. His papacy promised a renewed focus on social justice and inclusivity. Here was a guy who grew up in a developing country and saw firsthand the struggles of the poor. His experiences in the Philippines, a nation marked by stark wealth disparities, shaped how he viewed the world and led. He truly understood the importance of empathy and compassion when addressing the needs of the less fortunate. His work in the slums of Manila and his advocacy for social justice earned him lots of love and respect. As Pope, he was expected to keep fighting for the underprivileged, bringing their voices into global conversations. He had a unique perspective, combining deep theological knowledge with real-life experiences, making him relatable and inspiring. His speeches weren't just sermons, they were calls to action, encouraging people to live out their faith through kindness and service. He had a knack for connecting with people, making them feel seen and heard. His message of love, compassion, and unity struck a chord with everyone, whether they were rich or poor, young or old. His papacy was seen as a beacon of hope in a world often divided by conflict and inequality. Pope Tagle's leadership promised a fresh, inclusive, and compassionate approach to the Catholic Church, one that would inspire and uplift people around the globe. Section 6. Tears of Joy. As the ceremony reached its pinnacle, a palpable wave of emotion swept through the air, and it was impossible to overlook the profound feelings etched on Pope Tagle's face. In that moment, tears began to gather in his eyes, tears that represented a deep well of joy, humility, and profound gratitude. He was acutely aware of the immense responsibility that rested upon his shoulders, a realization that seemed to deepen the intensity of his emotions. The crowd, a sea of faces filled with anticipation and reverence, watched in awe as he stood before them, visibly moved by the significance of the occasion. There was something incredibly genuine about his expression. He was not merely performing a role, but rather embodying the very essence of his mission. This was a man who truly understood the weight of the expectations placed upon him, a burden that was both heavy and sacred. In that poignant moment, it was clear that he was not just a figure of authority, but a compassionate leader, fully engaged with the hopes and dreams of those gathered before him. The atmosphere was charged with a sense of unity and shared purpose, as the crowd collectively felt the power of faith, a force so strong that it has the ability to heal wounds, bridge divides, and bring people together in ways that transcend mere words. Pope Tagle's tears were not just a personal expression. They resonated with the collective spirit of the community, reflecting their struggles, their hopes, and their unwavering belief in the transformative power of love and faith. In that fleeting yet eternal moment, it was as if everyone present could sense the profound connection that exists between a leader and their people, a reminder that together they could face the challenges ahead with renewed strength and solidarity. Section 7. A Message of Unity. In his first speech as Pope, Tagle talked about unity and compassion. He called for a church that welcomes everyone. He encouraged people to engage in conversation and understanding. He highlighted how important it is to help the poor and those on the fringes of society. His words struck a chord with many, offering a message of hope and renewal. Pope Tagle had a clear vision. He wanted a church that shined bright in a world that often feels pretty dark. Section 8. A New Chapter for the Church. The coronation of Pope Tagle marked the beginning of a vibrant and transformative chapter in the rich tapestry of the Catholic Church's history. His election as the leader of one of the world's largest religious institutions sent ripples of excitement and hope throughout the global community. It served as a powerful testament to the vast reach and influence of the Church, illustrating that it is not confined to any single culture or region, but is, in fact, a diverse and inclusive body that embraces the myriad backgrounds and experiences of its followers. Pope Tagle's ascension to the papacy heralded a new era characterized by a commitment to dialogue and outreach, emphasizing the importance of listening to the voices of all people, especially those on the margins of society. He recognized the pressing challenges that our world faces today, issues such as social inequality, environmental degradation, and the need for greater understanding among different cultures and faiths. With a heart full of compassion and a mind attuned to the complexities of contemporary life, Pope Tagle emerged as a leader who embodies deep faith and unwavering convictions. His leadership style is expected to foster an environment where open conversations can thrive, encouraging collaboration among diverse communities within the Church and beyond. This approach not only reflects his profound understanding of the human experience, but also highlights his dedication to building bridges, promoting peace, and uplifting the voices of those who have historically been marginalized. As he embarks on this papal journey, The world watches with anticipation, hopeful that his tenure will inspire a renewed sense of unity and purpose within the Catholic Church and the broader global society. Section 9. A legacy forged in hope. As the golden sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the ancient city of Rome, a transformative chapter unfolded for the Catholic Church. Pope Tagle, a figure of remarkable charisma and compassion, stood with quiet dignity on the grand balcony of St. Peter's Basilica. Gazing out over the sea of faces that filled the vast square, he was met with a tapestry of emotions: hope, joy, and a yearning for change reflected in the eyes of the faithful gathered below. With a graceful motion, he raised his hand high to bestow a blessing upon the crowd, and in that profound moment, an electric sense of possibility surged through the air. It was as if the very atmosphere crackled with the promise of a new dawn. His election to the papacy ignited a powerful wave of optimism in the hearts of millions around the globe, offering a renewed sense of purpose and direction within the Church. Pope Tagle emerged not just as a leader, but as a symbol of unity in a time marked by division and strife. He championed the marginalized and the impoverished, advocating for social justice and compassion. His words resonated deeply with those who felt forgotten, as he called for a church that not only preached love and acceptance, but actively worked to uplift the downtrodden and give voice to the voiceless. In a world often overshadowed by turmoil and uncertainty, he became a beacon of unwavering faith and hope. His presence inspired countless individuals to believe in the possibility of change, urging them to embrace their shared humanity and work together towards a brighter future. The legacy that Pope Tagle began to forge, built on the foundation of hope, compassion, and inclusivity, is sure to leave an indelible mark on the Church and the world at large. As his message of love and solidarity spread, it became evident that his influence would extend far beyond his papacy, inspiring generations to come to strive for a more just and compassionate society. The dawn of this new era, illuminated by his leadership, promised a journey filled with potential, where faith and action could intertwine to create meaningful change in the lives of many.